Hey there guys, and welcome to another episode of China, How It Is. For the next 10 episodes of China, How It Is, I'm going to be doing something special. Now, my friend and fellow vlogger C-Milk has started a new series on his channel called China Tips. And what we're actually doing here is we're working together in order to bring all of you out there the best information possible about China. So for any of you guys who are planning on moving to China, or like I said, just visiting China, this is the video series for you. Now, those of you who know me and know my older China How It Is videos know the usual format. Usually it's just me sitting down, drinking a beer, and waffling on for a very long time. You know, here's a little clip so you can actually go and see what I'm talking about. But yes, usually I'm just sitting there in front of the camera and going on for a very long time, and it's not really to the point. And although I do cover my points, like I said, I tend to waffle on a bit much, like I'm doing now. So, for the next 10 episodes of China How It Is, I will be keeping things to the point, very concise, and I will be following the same sort of format that C-Milk will be doing. And you'll see a lot of my footage in his videos and some of his footage in my videos, etc., since we are working together. And for those of you who are worried that, oh no, this is just going to be the same sort of points and the same information just from two different sources, no. You see, the beauty of this whole situation is that C-Milk and myself come from very different backgrounds. We're living in different cities in China, and on top of that, we both have had different experiences, obviously, traveling around and dealing with different things. Both of us own cars, both of us have gotten married. He got married to a mainland girl, I got married to a Hong Kong girl, separated, but anyway. We've all had these similar sort of experiences. Like I said, both started businesses, both have been around China for a long time now. I've been around China for quite a few more years than C-Milk, but you know, he's been here long enough to qualify as a credible source of information. And so we're both going to be covering the same topics, and you'll get my take on it from an experience point of view, and you'll get his take on it also on an experience. And he likes to do a lot of research into minorities and culture and the things that I personally don't really spend too much time on. Okay, so basically we're going to have 10 different topics that we're going to cover. Alright, so now let me talk about the topics that we're going to be covering. Over the next 10 episodes of the China How It Is series, I will be covering 10 topics. These are the same 10 topics that C-Milk will be covering in his China Tip series. The first one being where to go. Now, of course, if you're coming to China, you have to figure out where in China you want to live or visit. And China being a massive place, it's quite difficult to decide. So I'm going to, myself and C-Milk are going to help you decide where to actually go. Right, the second thing, let me check my notes. Qualifications and visa. Of course, if you're coming here to travel, you need a different visa. If you're coming here to do performance arts, you need a different visa. If you're coming here to work, you need a different visa. But, you know, each different visa requires a certain amount of qualifications or paperwork, etc. I'll be going through all of those, so will C-Milk. And of course, myself coming from a different country, the prerequisites are very different to those from C-Milk. So you'll see a lot of more interesting things here. Okay, finding a job. If you do plan on staying here and finding a job, well, that's what that episode is going to be all about. I'll be telling you how to and where to look, etc., etc. The next episode will be about salary and holidays. Of course, if you come to work here, what kind of salary can you expect? And how many days holiday will you get, etc., etc. We'll go over that. And of course, it's different depending on the city and the job you have. Next. All right, renting an apartment. If you plan on renting an apartment, how much should you pay? Just going to make a note that a lot of these topics I have already covered in my China How It Is series. However, this is going to be a very concise, to-the-point set of episodes here, so you don't need to sit there listening to me waffling on for half an hour just to find some basic information. All right, so renting, and of course, if you wanted to go ahead and buy a house or property, which I personally don't suggest at all, but if you wanted to, I'll tell you how, and C-Milk will tell you how. All right, next. Learning Chinese. Okay. Of course, I have my Mandarin On Demand series. There's a link if you guys are interested in learning some basic Chinese. But if you're planning on staying here long term, what are the best ways to learn the language? Because, you know, it is a very difficult language to learn. So we'll be going over ways to learn the language, places you can go, etc., etc. Next one, transportation. Okay, now this is of course going to cover all the things like public transport, which I have already covered, but anyway, we're going to do public transport, we're going to do things like buying a car, driving in China, getting a driver's license. If you're in a city that allows you to ride motorbikes or e-bikes, unlike Shenzhen, then yes, we'll talk about those as well. So we'll cover all different forms of transport. Okay, next one, dating and marriage. Well, of course, both C-Milk and myself have had our fair amount of experience dating in China and, of course, getting married. C-Milk got married to a mainland girl, like I mentioned, and I've been married to a Hong Kong girl in the past. So we can cover this topic and tell you all the ins and outs. Okay, next one, starting a business. All right, so you're in China, you want to start a business. How do you go about doing it? Well, we can tell you. Next, guanxi, or making connections. This is an interesting topic, a very important topic to China, and so we will be covering that over here in our series. So that wraps it up. Those are the 10 different topics that C-Milk and I will be covering. We'll be releasing our episodes at more or less the same time. We will be cross-linking to each other, so you will have lots of information about a specific topic, to the point, and from 2 different viewpoints. I'll be doing it in my style, he'll be doing it in his style, and you're going to be able to get like a wealth of information from all of this. So anyway, guys, I'm pretty excited about this series, and I hope you will all enjoy it too. I'll see you in the next China How It Is, and until then, stay awesome.